Friends, this is Jazz bringing you the second half of Riverdale, my opinion on Riverdale. I just finished the last 2 episodes. I also read some stuff on the wiki and that to help me with this too. Again, spoilers. For those who haven't watched it, turn it off because I'm going to be spoiling a lot of this show because I want to bring my opinion on it properly. I might also recap some of the other things that I just remembered from the last one. So, we find out a lot of things in the last 2 parts about the death of Jason Blossom. Now, there are some things that happen that kind of confuse me, whatever. First, FP, which is Jughead's father, confesses to the murder of Jason, which obviously I already read some of the wiki before I went off to the last few parts. You know, accidental. The ending was already spoiled for me, so I knew what was going to happen, which was stupid. But I'll get to that later. Jughead's father confesses, and then things kind of get a little tense, you know, like with the whole situation, like FP is in jail, and they're trying to figure out the situation for Jughead, because Archie's father's low in business, and he hasn't been financially stable, so he can't keep Jughead forever. Like, he offered, but he didn't have the means, you know, in a way. So they were thinking of transferring him, like, all the way to the south side, or similar to, I think, where his father did live, and to go to South High, which is another high school, like, transferred. And all that is in the mix with Archie and everyone. Also, in the last few parts, just before that happened, Veronica and Archie investigated FP's trailer. This is important, because when he's arrested because they find a gun with a locker, like the police. And Archie's confirmed that when they went through it, they saw no red locker box, no red, you know, that held the gun. It was not there. So they're thinking he may have been framed. I mean, this eventually adds tension between Jughead and Betty and Archie and Veronica, which is temporary. But before he's realized that he's been framed, it caused tension because they were going against Betty and Jughead's knowing, you know, it's funny, Betty did not want to investigate FP on her mother's behalf, Alice's behalf, so Veronica wants to know if her father is connected to what happened in any way, so she volunteers, and she convinces Archie, who now they're a couple, sort of, that to go and research, to go and check, because Archie's concerned on Jughead's behalf. So, like, things happen, like, it's kind of crazy, and FP does confess to the murder, but there is more to the story. Like, at first Jughead is wondering, has he not cleaned up his act? Because he looked like he did. He stopped drinking, he didn't miss a day of work, he sounded interested in the story, which he was writing about Jason, like Jughead's story. So, he thought he may have changed. Right? There was even a point where he said they should all get back together, him and the mother and Jellybean, which is the sister, who never appeared in season 1. This saying, but it's just like a forethought. So, all the different things happen. Hermione Lodge and Fred Andrews have a bit of an argument, or, you know, a serious disagreement, because she was doing things behind his back, right? And we find out Veronica's father's going to be released from jail, but hasn't in this season yet. And so any romantic relationship those two had, Fred and Hermione, stopped. They were just partners, or whatever it was. I forget what it was, but the gang is still desperate to find out what happened to Jason and to prove that FP did not kill him. So they did some more research. They found Jason's jacket, and in somewhere, I forget where it was, but this is also after, I forget his name, but one of the main serpents ended up dead in the bathtub, which they were thought as an overdose. And then there was money from apparently Veronica's father, Ayer. I think it's Ayer, I forget what it was. It's H, just like Hermione. But it makes it look like there's a connection between that guy and FP and Mr. Lodge. So that all happens, right? But then eventually they come back and they, somewhere, I forget where, whether it was, what is it, FP's house or somewhere else. But it was somewhere else, I think. And they find Jason's jacket. And at first they thought, well, that's it, he did it, or whatever, right? He had something to do with it. But then Betty does this trick, it's hard to explain, that she puts it on Archie and she just does different things to it, and she finds a USB drive. So they put it into Archie's laptop, or one of the laptops. I don't know if it was Archie's or Betty's or Veronica's. So they watched it. They saw Jason alive, when he was alive, and they saw the serpent, I forget which one, the one who was dead, talking to him. And just back up, actually. FP, when he was given a confession, he said that originally he made a deal with Jason because he wanted to run away and borrow like a car or find a way out, right? So they made the deal that he'll deliver drugs over there, like he'll make a delivery for them. But then they realize that it is Blossom's son. So they take him, like they have a chance, they kidnap him and hold him for ransom. Now that was FP's story. Well, FP's story went on further to say that he escaped. That's when he shot him. And they put him in the freezer and like laid him out in the river, or where Kevin found the body. Also, Kevin's boyfriend turns out to have assisted FP in hiding it, so he had something to do with it too. But back to what I was saying. The computer with the USB drive showed Jason alive and well at that time, tied up like FP said, but something different happens. Another person walks in. Cliff Blossom. Yeah, Jason's own father. So, did he come to do the ransom to get his son back? No. He takes the ring, which is given by Rose Blossom, his grandmother, to propose to Polly with, and takes it from him, puts out the gun, and yeah! Cliff's the killer! Oh yeah, there's more. It turns out the grandfather, the Cooper and the Blossom relatives, way back, the great-grandparents, were in fact brothers. Yeah. Now, I do not mind people betraying gay individuals. That's great, they're opening up. But incest? Yeah, that means Polly and Jason's children are in fact also cousins. Yeah, they're fourth cousins and brother and sister. And they were third cousins. I mean, there was more. Apparently that maple syrup business Cliff had was a drug-selling business. Jason found this out, so it kind of explains why Cliff killed him. He found this out and refused to cooperate with that. He could not handle it. So he ran off to be with Polly. And when FP, the only thing he did, which he was partially responsible for hiding things and interfering with evidence, or tampering with evidence. But he helped because, and he falsely confessed because Cliff threatened Jughead's safety if he did not hide it. So, yeah. That's a few things that I'm saying about. Like, I knew this twist from reading it, so I wasn't surprised, but at the same time I still was. I mean, really? They went that route? Well, I think I made the joke in my last video, what if his parents did it? Really? I mean, okay, it was I enjoyed it. It was a good story, but how would all this be the ending? Okay, there's supposed to be a second season, which, hallelujah, something different might happen, but really, well, it wasn't really the ending because there was an aftermath episode, but that was the way they ended this case. That's the way they decided to bring the direction they thought to bring with it. I mean, okay, maybe it was a surprise that people who were contributing to the community were doing bad things. Okay, yeah, that I guess is okay. But I've heard stories of parents doing it so many times. The only, you know what, I'm actually saying it. The only one that was innocent in all this was Cheryl. She did not know. I don't know whether the mother knew. I think she had an inkling. Maybe not how bad it was, but she knew about the drug business for sure. And I don't know whether when Cheryl confronted her mother, I don't know whether she knew and she was dragging her out of despite, or she really thought, or she really didn't know and thought there's no way he could do this. But it gets more interesting. Again, spoilers, you've already been spoiled anyway. When the police go to confront Cliff, he kills himself by hanging. Yeah, so he never knows, well, we know he was in the drug business and Jason found this out. So that's the only way I could see it. Also, Cheryl tries to commit suicide by drowning in, like it was winter, by going to the same place where Jason was and trying to drown herself. Archie and the gang save her though. But maybe they shouldn't have. I don't know, because she sets the entire mansion on fire in front of her mother. I'm shocked they got out alive. Because she's like, there's only one way to have it start over. I mean, I don't know whether to say, oh my god, or good for you, Cheryl. Don't be like your parents. I mean, because it's, oh my god, she's sadistic, or, well, her parents were sadistic, so one up. Like, it's funny, Cheryl's character was always interesting to me. As I said, there was moments where she was a real bee, but there were moments where she showed her sensitive side, and some of those things, like, it also shows how great Archie and his gang were. They saved her, even though after things she's done to them, and how bad she was, they save her. Like, they're just that good of people. Like, it's funny, because she sends a text to Hermione, which, I mean, they're sort of, you know, on and off friends or whatever, and she says, I'm going to join Jason, which obviously, what, you know, I'd be like, and then at first they were like, at first some of them were sort of clueless, and then they're like, where would Jason be? Duh. But, I mean, it looked like I think she sort of died for a second, but Archie brought her back, I think by the CPR. I don't know, because she was having visions and she saw Jason with the horror. That was freaky. One of the freakiest things I've seen, but yeah. I mean, I wasn't so impressed with the ending. Well, although there is a cliffhanger ending to go on to season 2, that Mr. Andrews gets shot at Pops. At first I thought Archie got shot and thought he was protecting his father, but it does show Mr. Andrews laying on the ground. So, we don't know. Even in the wiki, they say status unknown. We don't know whether he'll succumb to that wound, or he'll go to the hospital and recover. But, I mean, I don't know if there was this burglary, because Archie goes to wash or something, go to the washroom, and that's when it happens. So, I don't know if the burglar is just a random burglar, or it is tied to Mr. Andrews. Or, like, what do I think, personally? I think that either someone who worked for Mr. Blossom, like, got some sort of revenge because of what Archie did, or it has to do something Hero Lodge did. Those are the only two explanations. Because Fred refused to sell the business to Hermione and Hare. They wanted to buy it out. And Fred said, I won't do that. So that is the most likely, to me, the conclusion of who shot Mr. Andrews. But the thing with getting back at Archie as a whole is also a possibility too. Take it someone that he loves, for example. Like I don't know. Like, it gotta look like a male, but even if it could be anyone dressed as that, but more likely it's someone for hire from Mr. Lodge. I could be wrong. If I am, I am. But from what I saw and everything that went on, that looks like the most likely conclusion. It's either someone trying to get at Archie from the Blossom side, or the Lodge is going after Mr. Andrews. Personally, now it's a wonder if he'll live, because I actually kind of liked his character. Like, maybe he didn't physically fit Mr. Andrews' description from the comic, but I just liked his character in general. He was the type of person that could fit as a good character on their own. I mean, another character he sort of reminded me of a bit was Charlie from Twilight, but a little more, okay, he kind of did in looks, but when you think about it, he was totally opposite Charlie. He tried to get involved with his son's life. He tried to protect him. So he was, looks-wise, he reminded me of Charlie, but he had this character in him that had his own character. He had his own story arcs, too, mini story arcs. So I got to know him. I'd say next to Veronica, he was probably one of my favorite characters. So if he dies, that was like a surprise, or at least it opened up the possibility for season 2. Like, who shot Mr. Andrews? Like, I hope he does not die. Like, I hope they don't do this formula where someone is dead to find out who did it. With, like, I hope Mr. Andrews and that thing. They could do it okay with him being alive. But I mean, the thing is, Mr. Andrews, they had a mask over the person's face, so he didn't quite see who shot him at that time, so he might not know. So he could still be I can understand, right? I'm trying to think, as my eyes are watering. I could understand that if someone came out with no mask on, just went up and shot him, and if he lived, he could confess, then I could see him, the reason for him having to die then, because he would be able to tell. But the person's covered, so I don't think he'd recognize whoever did it. So he could still be alive without ruining the mystery. That is just my opinion on it. I never finished editing the other one, but I'm going to try to do these two and just say my opinion on the whole series. I'm already watching a new series, Liberty Stickets one, but I'm taking it slow with that. I watched the whole series of Riverdale in 2 days. 2 days. So I have to really give it a break, but at least I'll be watching more TV shows with that, another TV show with that. So I watched Fuller House as well on Netflix. I might do another redo of that later. But I mean, all in all, Riverdale was interesting. It was creepy. Sometimes things did not make sense. They went back and forth a lot, but it was interesting. It kept you hooked. You cared enough about these characters. Well, most of them, but Reggie, again, was not in it at all this season, pretty much, except for a few episodes and a few parts. But there's going to be a new recasting of Reggie, apparently, so maybe we'll see him more. I don't know. Why would they bother recasting if he wasn't going to be in it? Okay, he probably would be sometimes, but jeez, I forget what I was going to say. But yeah, the characters for the most part were investable. You worry about all of them. There were a few, as I said, Reggie and Mrs. Andrews. She comes for a cameo to watch Archie perform. these characters who don't really show enough character to really care about, but people like Archie, Jughead especially, within the last few episodes, he's been a main focus because of his father, and it shows what type of character he was, and how much he cared about his family. And like Betty and her family, the parents are back together. Why? Okay, that just, like, it's funny, even Betty and Polly seem to be forgivable to their father. I don't know. But it seems like, I think the only thing that, Hal, that's his name, the only two things Hal did wrong were trying to get Polly to get rid of the babies and keeping the secret about the incestuous thing to himself. Everything else, he was bad, but he just wasn't relatable bad, like you didn't know him enough. Miss Cooper, yeah, she sort of bugged me. Now, I'm trying to think of how to explain it. There were two characters that I probably disliked worse than Cheryl. One was Miss Lodge, a little bit, but she's the least of the two. And the second is Miss Cooper. Okay, yes, I know Cliff Blossom did a horrible thing to his son, but he was sort of stuck up already, and that was kind of expected. But these two women, Miss Lodge forged her daughter's signature to get a deal and tried to steal it from Mr. Andrews. That's why I think her husband has something to do with what happened to Fred in the end. And to Miss Cooper, always was so stuck up and tried to get people to do things her way. And maybe there's a bit of redemption for her when she confessed that she had a son but had to put him up for adoption. Like, she told the truth for once. But a lot of the time it was lie, do this, oh, they're not right, do things my way. Yeah. Like, she annoyed the hate out of me. I mean, I didn't really care for I didn't really care for Miss Blossom much either. Like, I just did not like her. But besides that, a lot of the characters were likable and you could get invested in their stories. Like, even Cheryl a little bit, I sort of felt bad for her when she kept grieving Jason. There were moments where she just couldn't live. Like, there was a moment where she came downstairs, like, near the end. She said, "Mommy, I can't handle this. Please don't make me go to school." Which, of course, she retorts to, "You're going." That's what I know it. But sometimes some kids just say, like, "I can't do it today. I don't want to go." And yes, they have to be forced to go. But Cheryl had been through so much, especially finding her father kill himself after finding out he killed her brother, her twin. And she freaks out at Jughead, and Jughead gets punished, but she was naturally upset, and she thought, well, no, she freaks out at Jughead before this, because she thought his father killed her brother, which was sort of a legitimate reaction, in a way. Yes, like, Jughead didn't actually do it, but his father did, and she was in grief a lot at this time, and she apologized to Jughead for it. So, I sort of forgive her for that. Well, to say Cheryl, I'm still on top of these three other characters. That, like, she was a natural, school bully anyway. That's just who she was. It's not that she was someone who was supposed to be. But let's say Cheryl was herself. She wasn't hiding herself, for the most part, except for those little things when she grieved. Where those other women literally try to act all nice. "Oh, nothing's wrong, honey. Blah, blah, blah." Yeah, they were supposed to be good characters. Like, they're supposed to be supportive. Like, Cheryl has kind of an excuse with being the typical mean girl with problems at home. These other characters do not. Like, but yeah, I think that is about it. Pretty much I enjoyed it. There were funny parts, but mostly mysterious. I love the way they revealed the ending of what happened, like showing all the kids like gasping at the video, watching it all go down. And it doesn't show it until they say the police saw the same thing they saw. And then it shows what happened. And then their reaction, like, there was crying and everything. Like, it was one of those things that were so horrifying to see, that even though you're not related to them, well, actually, Betty was. Yeah, okay, again, I keep going on that incestuous thing. But, besides that, like, no one else was related to Jason. But they all felt bad seeing him be gunned down. And by his father, at the very least. So, I'd say, yeah, I don't like it was a typical, like, expected ending. But, it was still executed very well. Like, imagine a whole bunch, like, imagine a kid, let's say a random kid finds this jacket and finds a USB, and they're good at computers. They're like, oh cool, what was on here? Click. What? Yeah, it'd be worse than that, actually, but imagine a younger kid finding this. It'd be horrifying. And they were expecting it. I mean, it would be as bad not knowing me. Even if they didn't know the person, it would be bad seeing this happen no matter who killed the person. Witnessing someone being killed is horrible. Like there literally were tears in, like, Betty and Veronica's eyes. Like, the other ones, like, were shocked and their hands were, like, and even the sheriff's son, Kevin, even he was there to witness it, so he was like, I bet you he was thinking and said, oh, Daddy, you messed up. Yeah. And what was worse is that they try to get FP to make some type of drug confession, or I forget what it is, to lower his sentence, to make, like, that he was the one selling the drugs to make Mr. Blossom look better. Because they don't want the highlight of their town to be ruined. That changes in the end a little bit, which is good because Betty makes a speech, but it shows how everyone is scared of secrets and of things being ruined. But anyway, they executed the whole series pretty well, and I'm actually looking forward to, hopefully I'll be able to see the second season. Maybe not as binge watch it as much, but I want to know what happens to Mr. Andrews. I think it could go either way. He could die, but he could live. But if I had to bank on it, okay, two ways I can see it. He lives, or he dies, and he might go to join Jughead. Archie might. But then again, that's not very likely, so I think he's going to live. Because the only thing is, Archie's the main character. And if something happens to Mr. Andrews, then Archie will probably have to go move with his mother in New York. Which would remove him from a big part of this Riverdale story. So, either something in plan would happen if Mr. Andrews died, or Mr. Andrews lives. Because, like, I mean, I know the whole someone dying and solving a mystery thing is a thing, especially in this, but, like, with how Archie's still young, you need somewhere to live, they wouldn't just kill Mr. Andrews off, like, without having a plan for Archie. So either they have a plan for Archie if he dies and they kill the character off, or, as I said, he lives and it's just, they have to find out who shot him, who tried to kill him. But yeah, I was kind of leaning towards he dies, but then at the thought of Archie, like, what would happen with him, that can't happen that way. If they do that, then yeah, they're nuts. But anyway, guys, I have to edit this in the other video, so if you enjoyed this Riverdale review part 2, give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video.